Last week I gave you a little background information on the non-native written history of Chief Paulina. Now, he was a Paiute Indian chief who back in the day was considered a marauder and a murderer, but not by everyone. In fact, over the years, history has really revealed that during the time of the Indian Wars in the 1800s, there really were no angels.
This week I want to show you the other side of the coin, a look at a man who was pushed beyond his limits. And to tell his story,
I want you to meet Wilson.
My name is Wilson Weewa Jr. I work for the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. I'm a descendant of Weewa, and he had a brother, was Paulina.
The Northern Paiute tribe had been nomadically living in a large swath of the West for thousands of years, following the seasons and the animals in order to maintain their way of life.
But pretty soon, some strangers appeared from the east, and they just kept coming. And their view on land rights was very different than the Northern Paiute had been living with for generations.
And so when fences were put up across trail systems that had been used for centuries, our people tore them down to access the resources that were on the other side of the fence, so to speak.
Their resources dwindling, their people starving, finally several chiefs got together and said, enough is enough.
So our people were being pushed from one area to another area to another area and to another area. And so to defend the right to live on the land that we've always known at home, our people started fighting against the ranchers, against the miners, against the soldiers, to maintain our way of life.
Paulina developed a reputation with the non-natives as being a thief and a savage. But as I said before, there were no angels in this conflict. In fact, the U.S. Army started a skirmish with Paulina in which they abducted his wife and child and put them in prison as a way to try to force Paulina's hand to come to the table.
Paulina, certainly, as any husband or father would do when their wife and children are abducted, wanted his wife and child back. And so a negotiation was made that if he would come in and stop warring, that he could get his son and wife back, which he did. He gave up his arms and was reunited with his family.
Paulina tried to settle into reservation life, but he encountered broken promises from the U.S. government and resentment from the Klamath tribe, whose lands the Paiutes were now living on.
They signed the Klamath Treaty to go on their reservation, but like with many of the treaties, the United States government never fulfilled their promises to provide annuities to the leaders and to the people.
So Chief Paulina resumed his subsistence lifestyle and even resumed his raids against white settlers and other tribes. That is until one day he raided and burned down the ranch of James Clark. James Clark grabbed Howard Moppet and a few other men and vowed revenge, which he got one early morning near Ashwood, Oregon.
That rancher scalped him with his own knife because the belief was that if he was scalped or killed with his own knife, that he wouldn't make it into, quote, Indian heaven. That's not true. Our belief is that if our people are killed by somebody else, that person inherits all the sins of the one they murder.
In my many years of doing Little Did I Know, I've come across countless stories of innocent people who were killed either over mistaken identities or from retaliations on both sides of the fence.
When I was learning about the history of the United States, and there were people like George Washington, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin that fought against the British to not become subjects of British rule, and they were called patriots.
In this case, how you view Paulina all depends on whose shoes you're standing in.
If that's not a patriot, I don't know what that is. And we're still here.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elmas.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos from Central Oregon Daily News. And for more news from the high desert, just visit centraloregondaily.com.